Barkley will be the NFL's first ever running back to make more than $20 million a season. Take that, Barry Sanders and Bo Jackson and Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk and all the rest. So over $20 million a season, and he also has procured $36 million fully guaranteed. So he's in good shape. He doesn't have to worry about the price of eggs, does not have to worry about tariffs or any of that stuff. He's good to go. So let us discuss the question. Is there a big takeaway from Saquon Barkley getting this massive payday with the Birds? So I've got Sopranos, Himalayas, and soul-sucking. We'll combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the steak sandwich, which outside of Philadelphia, they call it the cheesesteak, the Philly cheesesteak, but in Philly, they just say it's a steak sandwich because they don't need to say Philadelphia Philly cheesesteak because that's outside Philadelphia. All right, so number one. I said number one. All right, this doesn't change the direction of the running back pay scale. Like people say, oh, this is it. This is the defining moment. He broke the glass ceiling, all that stuff. I disagree. And here's why. What Saquon Barkley did is a unique situation. It's like finding a unicorn. You're not likely to find many unicorns. Maybe you'll find one. But Barkley painted the Mona Lisa, as we say. He ran for over 2,000 yards, and he put the entire bird's nest on his back and led them to the promised land. We all saw it, right? Every man, woman, and child saw it. And so the Eagles, the way I look at it here, they're going old school HBO. They're going Sopranos, right? They're transferring large sums of money in unmarked envelopes, like manila envelopes, and just handing Barkley a wad of cash. And if you listen closely, you can hear the crinkle in the envelope filled with money. It's a good sound. And it's not the riches of Solomon. It's the riches of Lurie, as in Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia football team. Now, that said, I maintain my position. This is a unique set of circumstances that is unlikely. Everything lined up for Saquon Barkley. The Giants thought he was going to suck. We were skeptical. And he went out and did a great job. But fresh off the dopamine hit, right to the brain from winning the Super Bowl and all that, Philadelphia, even with that, paying him the $20 million a year, when you take a couple of steps back and look across the Serengeti, really what the Eagles did here is they were measured. Like, they didn't go all in. Well, that's outrageous. They give him $36 million. They went all in. No, they didn't. Let me explain. Right? If you do the MALLER math, Barkley's 28 years old. So right in the athletic prime. Athletic prime goes to about 32. So he's in his athletic prime right now. But running backs normally age out about 30. So if you do the math, Philadelphia is not interested in paying Barkley top dollar past the age of 30. So this contract takes care of him the rest of his 20s. And then once he gets into his early 30s, it's ixnay on the money A. That's it. Now, page 2. What can Saquon Barkley do now? Now that he's got the contract and everyone's loving him, he'll never have to pay for a meal anytime soon in Philadelphia. He and Nick Foles are golden. So what does Saquon Barkley do for an encore after this massive payday and the perfect season for the Eagles? So I have the answer. I have the answer. I spent several minutes deliberating this, and the answer is Barkley can now go to the Himalayas. Now, why can Barkley go to the Himalayas? He can go to the Himalayas because it's a good news, bad news situation, right? Barkley will only be able to match what he did last year in 2024. He will not be able to pass what he did last year. That's impossible. It's like sitting in the Himalayas on top of Mount Everest, the highest mountaintop that we know of on the planet, right? You go to Mount Everest, you climb it, you scale Mount Everest, you're at the very top, or in this case, Mount Lombardi. And as the line goes, and we've heard this, when you reach the top of the mountain, there's only one way to go, down. And so there is this thing called regression to the mean. It's like the Madden cover jinx. Or there used to be this thing called magazines people used to read, and there used to be a popular magazine called Sports Illustrated before I was alive. And they had this thing called the SI jinx, the cover jinx, because normally you would end up on the cover of a magazine or a video game after an amazing season. And typically you don't have back-to-back amazing seasons. It is a regression to the mean. Extreme outcomes are followed by more moderate ones. It's like when I have a good show during the week, I never have back-to-back good shows. I normally only have one a month, and the rest of the month blows. But for one night a month, very good. Very good. And now, am I saying Barkley's going to fall off the map? No. I'm not saying that. Let's not get crazy. However, 2,000 yards? No, that's not going to happen. And the Eagles will not be repeating the Super Bowl championship parade in 2026 in the Bay Area, which is where Super Bowl 60 will be played. All right, now, final point. Staying with the theme of the hour, the running back position. We now go to the land where Two Dump Kenny is currently putting tuna fish cans on aisle 5 at the grocery store there. But I'm proud of him. He called up last hour, Two Dump Kenny, one of our new callers, trying to win Rookie of the Year for next year. And he did not curse. Good job by him. So the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steelers are unwilling to pay Naji Harris what he wants. He wants $8 to $10 million here. Barkley's getting $20 million. He wants $8 to $10. I'd also like $8 to $10 million. They don't want to pay me that here either. But $8 to $10 million on the open market. And so the chatter is that Pittsburgh is going to say bye-bye and get rid of Naji Harris. So are you surprised that every key indicator points to the Steelers not wanting to pay their starting running back, a guy they drafted at a pretty high clip there, Naji Harris? So I give this some side eye. I wouldn't pay him either. Oh, you're a hater. I'm not a hater. To me, this is a no-brainer. And again, I don't have any skin in the game with Pittsburgh and all that. I just watch all these games and have that fledgling TV show. And the Steelers cost me some money on the TV show. But here's the thing. Harris is easily replaceable. Is that an accurate statement that Naji Harris is easily replaceable? I believe it is an accurate statement. He is not a force multiplier. Now, the positive, the Marching and Chowder Society will say, well, he's been over 1,000 yards every year he's been in Pittsburgh, and he went over 1,000 yards last year, 1,043 yards for the Yinzers. And that sounds nice. And back in my day when I was growing up, 1,000 yards was a big deal. But they added an extra game. It wasn't even that big a deal as I think about it when they played 16 games. So now they play 17 games. It works out. Naji Harris averaged 61.3 yards per game. But that, even if that was okay, you say, well, 1,000 yards, we'll take that. Even if that was fine. The bigger problem for the Steelers, what do they lack on offense? They lack the razzmatazz. They are a stationary team. They don't have the wow factor on offense. And Naji Harris has been one of the least efficient running backs in the NFL ever since he entered the NFL. Year after year. Soul-sucking efficiency from Naji Harris. Yeah, there's sound of it right there. He's a lumbering running back is what he is. Now, what is my supporting evidence? I'll give it to you right now. I'm going to make my pitch. Despite all these 1,000-yard seasons, his career average is 3.9 yards per carry. But more importantly, there are no real game-changing plays. He has been in the NFL and run the ball over 1,000 times, over almost 1,100 carries, almost 1,100 carries in Naji Harris's career in Pittsburgh. And he has as many 40-yard runs as you and I have. Bupkis. He has never had a 40-yard breakaway, where the hole opens up and you zoom through and you run past the secondary and the linebackers in the secondary and you get 40-plus yards. Saquon Barkley, I know it's apples to oranges, but Barkley, he did that like every other play against the Rams, it seemed like, with the Eagles last year. So who's going to pay Naji Harris $8 to $10 million a year? There's always a sucker out there, and it's a sucker's paradise. If you spin the MALLER wheel of speculation, round and round and round, big money, no whammy, stop! on the Maller wheel of speculation. The Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chicago Bears came up on the Maller wheel of speculation, and they all need help in the running game, and Naji Harris is available, and you put 2 and 2 together, and I think you get like 3 or 4 or something like that, and all of them are desperate. And when you're desperate, you do things you probably wouldn't do if you weren't desperate.